more this August rather than some as many walk and talks for now for obvious reasons. So I would like to take the opportunity to introduce Chris Berry. He is the volunteer and community outreach coordinator for the Palmetto Trail, focusing on engaging members of the community in recreation and natural resource management and fostering a greater appreciation for the environment through his work with the Palmetto Trail. He has a bachelor's degree in biology and a master's in natural resource management. He understands the important role that master naturalists across the state play in preserving incredible resources that South Carolina has to offer. Chris hopes through this a partnership with the Coastal Master Naturalists and the Palmetto Trail that we can continue to support responsible recreation, environmental stewardship across the state. So we really welcome him to be able to, again, give us a little bit more. I'm relatively new to the state, learning more about the Palmetto Trail. I look forward to that, and also what volunteer opportunities there might be, which I know we always are looking for new ideas as well, and where to be able to spend some of our volunteer hours. So without further ado, I want to welcome Chris and thank him for joining us, and I will turn it over to you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Nikki. I appreciate the introduction. Everyone able to hear me all right? Sound coming through? Presentation up? All good? All right. Well, as Nikki said, my name is Chris Berry. I'm the Volunteer Community Outreach Coordinator for the Palmetto Trail. So the Palmetto Trail, we'll give you a little background information on that before we get into the volunteerism aspect of it. So as you can see up here on my slide, it's 500 miles of opportunity from the mountains to the sea. So at this time, our trail is about 426 miles long, stretching across the state of South Carolina. We start all the way on the coast at Alwyndaw, fairly close to where I bet a lot of you all are in Charleston area there, going all the way to the very tip of the state in Oconee County, way up in the mountains. When all is said and done, we're going to have about 500 miles of trail. We still have a few sections here and there that we're looking to complete. We are fully complete now from Columbia all the way to the coast. So if we have any really big hikers out there, you can go all the way from the Capital City Passage in Columbia here, all the way down to the coast at Alwyndaw, and see the Intracoastal Waterway. So we just have a few gaps left in the Midlands and Upstate we're looking at completing. Some of that tough mountainy terrain, building a trail through, and working with a lot of private landowners and railroads to get the rest of the trail purchased or passage through people's property. The Palmetto Trail was founded about 30 years ago in the mid 90s. And we've been working on it ever since. This picture we have here is on probably our most popular passage, the Peak to Prosperity Passage, located fairly close to me here in Columbia. It's along the Broad River, and that is actually an old railroad trestle bridge built shortly after the Civil War. So it's about 150 years old, give or take. And we purchased it from the railroad and converted it into a walking trail. So the Palmetto Trail isn't just hiking. We also welcome cyclists. Portions of the trail welcome equestrian. So we have campsites. They are all first come, first served free campsites, open to the public. So if you're really into outdoor recreation, the Palmetto Trail is the place to check out. All access to the trail is free, of course. We are a nonprofit organization. We're just looking at getting people out and involved in the great outdoors. I also should have mentioned we also have kayak trails now that we've added to it on this river here specifically, as well as a new property we purchased that will be the Broad River Education and Recreation Preserve, which will focus on education and outreach and, of course, conservation as well. So let's get into the volunteer side of things. That's my role with the Palmetto Trail. Different ways that people can become involved. And if you have any questions, please feel free to just shout them out, and we'll have lots of time at the end as well. So, do we have any questions about the Palmetto Trail in general? Maybe the section near you or a section you've been to before I move on? All
I have
right.
a question. I
Yes.
do, yes. I think you said that the trail is open from Awendaw Creek to Columbia.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
So it starts with our Alwyndaw Passage, located on the Intracoastal. and then it goes all the way to the city of Columbia, and we have it broken down into about 10 or so different passages between those two. Um,
Wow.
Passages are just kind of our way of unique sections of the trail, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Okay.
Like the Allwendale Passage falls along Allwendale Creek. The Swamp Fox Passage goes through Francis Marion National Forest. And those would be the two located closest to most of you, I would imagine.
But are they connected?
They are connected. Yep.
Okay.
We split them up for both um, outreach reasons to like show people what's interesting about each part of the trail, as well as maintenance purposes, just organizing it, making it easier to host events and stuff like that. So,
Okay. Thank you.
yep.
Chris,
Thank you for the question.
Chris, you have ample places to park on these different access points along the trail.
Yeah, so we have different trailheads located at each of the trails. Every passage is going to have a trailhead at each end. The passages range anywhere from 2 to 50 miles long. And then a lot of the longer passages will have trailheads in the middle of them. So you can go to our website. I highly recommend it, palmettotrail.org. And if you go to the Trails tab, you can look at where each parking location is for all of the trails and stuff like that.
Thank you.
And I'll have that information, the website at the end if you want to write it down, as well as my contact information too. All right. Well, ways to become involved with the Palmetto Trail. So volunteers in the Palmetto Trail. Historic work of volunteers across the trail has been incredibly important. We really wouldn't be where we are today without volunteers. We have our upcoming volunteer appreciation social tomorrow, and I've actually crunched a lot of the numbers on work within this past year. We're looking at volunteers supplying tens of thousands of dollars, like fiscally, through the work they've done, calculating it from volunteer hours. We're at about 1,000 volunteer hours from volunteer events alone in this past year. That doesn't include passage monitors who go out independently on the trail. Those 1,000 hours are just volunteer events hosted by the Palmetto Trail. We had about 1,000 volunteers in our database, so we're across the entire state. We really rely on volunteers in each part of the state, and we really wouldn't be where we are without our volunteers. Many projects have been made possible due to volunteers. For example, we just replaced railing on that trestle bridge I showed in the last slide there. We actually had Scout Motors, a corporation, come out and replace about 1,000 feet of railing along that bridge. So these large scale projects just wouldn't be possible with our small crew without volunteers. We're numbering at about, I'd say, probably 12 people to 15 people across the entire state. So with 426 miles of trail, it just wouldn't be possible to maintain all of that, to keep building trail, to make repairs without these volunteers. And there are many different ways that individuals can get involved, which I will show here. So a lot of different ways to get involved. I kind of hinted at some of these. In the low country area where you all are, bridge and boardwalk repair is a big one. The Swamp Fox Passage I mentioned, our largest passage at 50 miles going through Francis Marion National Forest. That one has dozens of boardwalks across the entire thing. It's called Swamp Fox for a reason, of course, named after Francis Marion, but also it's very, very swampy. So we have a ton of boardwalks there. They're always in need of repair, redecking, and any flooding that damages or them or trees that fall on them. So we're always looking for assistance with that. Litter cleanup. It doesn't sound like the most exciting job, but it's very fulfilling. It's really important work. We want to beautify our trail. We want to keep it ecologically intact. General trail maintenance, anything from clearing the trail of overgrowth. Down by you all, we have a section. I'm sure you all are familiar with Carolina Bays. We have a section that goes through a Carolina Bay, and it likes to grow, and we have to maintain it a lot and make sure it doesn't over encroach on the trail. That's across all 426 miles. Construction projects, building new bridges and boardwalks, building new kiosks, all sorts of stuff like that. Passage monitoring, I'll talk about here in a minute. That's a big one. The Trailblazers and Adopt a Trailhead I'll also touch on here. I can stop here for a second if anyone has any questions, and or I can keep moving on. All right, let's get into passage monitors. So I'm guessing we have some hikers out there or cyclists in this chat today who enjoy going out on the trail. You all are master naturalists, of course, so you are very interested in being in the outdoors. Passage monitors. So our passage monitors are our eyes and ears along the trail. As I mentioned, we have a very long trail. Unfortunately, a limited number of people to maintain that trail, to walk that trail frequently, and to have eyes on that trail at all times. It's just not possible for us to see every part of the trail at all times. We just can't know always if there's something wrong with the trail or not. So these passage monitors look for anything that may be amiss along the trail. They hike each passage about once a month, and currently 60% of the passages have a monitor. This is actually up from 22% this October, so we're really happy to see those numbers increase. And in the low country specifically, we are still looking for passages for the Lake Marion, Santee, Utah Springs, Lake Moultrie, Swamp Fox, and Alwindal passages. We actually do currently have monitors for Swamp Fox and Alwindal, but we're always looking for multiple on each passage. We want to really get people out there involved to get eyes on those passages frequently, have people looking at them a couple times a month. The general expectation, if you're a passage monitor, is to go and hike your passage about once a month, and then you will send us a report back through that, through this app we have that I will talk about here momentarily as well. All right. So our Adopt a Trailhead program. The Adopt a Trailhead program is a new addition to the Palmetto Trail to put a greater emphasis on what visitors first see when they arrive at a passage. I'm sure everyone's heard about how first impressions are incredibly important. We try to do the same thing with our trailheads. Again, the trailheads are access points to the trail. So this is where you're going to go park your car, look at the kiosk that we have there with the map and information about the trail. And hopefully it looks great, so people are drawn to the trail. They want to hike that trail. Specifically, they don't just see a super messy trailhead with a dilapidated kiosk and just turn around and leave. We really want to make good first impressions. So for that reason, we've started the Adopt a Trailhead program. Similar to passage monitors, these individuals come out about once a month for beautification and cleanup of trailheads. Individuals or organizations interested in helping receive a plaque on the trailhead kiosk to recognize their hard work and dedication. So I had this one in. I think it'd be, if you all wanted to, as a group, do something together, this might be a great option for the Coastal Master Naturalists Association. You all could take turns doing this. It wouldn't have to be just one person out there once a month. And you could have your very own trailhead for your organization. And it would just be the general duties of this kind of role would be minor beautification, picking up litter, raking areas around the trailhead, maintaining the immediate trail from the trailhead, making sure it's not overgrown. It's really very light maintenance, but it makes a big impact on visitors. So we really look for people to adopt trailheads. And this is a very new program, so most trailheads across the state are still available for adoption. Any questions about the Adopt a Trailhead?
Someone did ask, how long are the passages?
Oh, how long? Sorry, I cannot see the chat when I'm in.
No, I'll read them to you, no problem.
All right, perfect. How long are the passages? That's a great question. They do vary across the entire trail. I believe Alwindal is about 7 miles, for example, but Swamp Fox is about 50 miles long. So we break them down. I think our shortest passage is 2 miles, and our longest is Swamp Fox at about 50. So it really just depends on the specific passage. Maybe if you're not as big of a hiker, you might want to choose a smaller passage. For our larger passages, if you want to monitor, we understand that it's very difficult for anyone do the commitment of hiking 50 miles every month. So if you want to just take a little chunk of that passage between two trailheads, you're also more than welcome to do that. We're happy to split it up that way.
Chris, are all the trails bike accessible?
Most of the trails are bike accessible. For specifics on what is allowed, you can go to our website on the trails page I previously mentioned, and it will let you know if bikes are allowed on these passages. We, as a rule, allow bikes on all of our passages, but when we lease property from landowners, it is partially up to them because it is their property if they would like to allow cyclists on it. So if that is the case, we do not allow cyclists on that passage. I believe they are allowed on Alwyndaw. I'm not sure about Swamp Fox because it's national forest land. I can check at the end, but I'd recommend the website. It'll show you what is allowed on each passage under the Trails tab.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, the Trailblazers. This is another new program, another new addition. We're looking at expanding our training for volunteers. That's really what the need arose for this program. So the Trailblazers are a new addition to the Palmetto Trail and are the premier volunteer group for the organization. The Trailblazers offer a variety of different volunteer levels based on interests, and they're the first to hear about upcoming volunteer opportunities. Additionally, we'll begin to offer training for Trailblazers specifically in trail construction and maintenance. So what this really came down to is we wanted to have a program where we could have volunteers who have specialized skills if they did not come into their volunteer experience with them. So eventually what we're going to start doing here in the fall is offering trainings for chainsaw use for volunteers, opportunities for trail construction, maintenance training on using different hand tools. So for those who are not as familiar with tool use or how trails are built, which sounds very straightforward. You think you just clear an area and level a path, but I did the trail training with our expert in the upstate, and it is actually very, very specific how trails are built to ensure that they're durable and last a long time. There's a lot of math involved and all that good stuff. So we offer those trainings for our Trailblazers, and we're hoping to build a skilled core group of volunteers who are dedicated and consistent volunteers. So the Trailblazer volunteer levels, there's a couple options if you decide to become a Trailblazer. Level 1 is a trail steward. There's flexible participation. It's entry level. You have the options to just do lighter maintenance, such as litter cleanup and lopping branches, clearing overgrowth, stuff like that. Level 2 would be a crew member. Regularly volunteers doing intermediate trail work. That's when your training would be offered to you. It's about a 10+ day a year commitment. Level 3 is crew leader. Can independently lead volunteer events and volunteers. For this, you would undergo training in leadership and just how our organization runs, and understanding of how you would want to lead volunteers, lead groups. Of course, CPR and first aid knowledge. You would have gone through trail construction training, so you know what you're teaching others. And it also has a 10+ day year commitment. And level 4 trail ambassador, which might be interest to your group specifically, would be outreach and education roles, representing the trail public events, leading hikes and workshops. So if you have a specialized knowledge, I'm a big bird nerd myself. I love to go birding all the time, both for work and in my free time. So I've started leading bird walks for the trail and doing bird hikes across the state. If you happen to have a lot of insect knowledge, for example, we would love to have you host an insect hike with our organization, and we could get people to come out and join us, and you could teach them your knowledge on insects, and hopefully we could find some cool ones and show everybody. Just really anything plant knowledge. I'm sure most people here are probably very, very experienced with their plant knowledge. So these ambassador roles are where we're looking for people with specialized knowledge that they want to share with their community. Any questions about the Trailblazer program or Trail Ambassadors? All right. So tracking our volunteer hours. Volunteer hours are really important for grant applications. A lot of work with that. We just launched our Dig It app, which if you're interested in being a passage monitor or trailhead adopter, you will be using that. It's a very straightforward app. It allows you to record hours and upload your reports. It's going to soon become available to all volunteers across the state. Right now, it's just available to our passage monitors and trailhead adopters. And here's the fun part about it is a milestone system has been developed to award volunteers with a variety of swag based on volunteer hours. So you'll have the option to win coffee tumblers, T-shirts, Palmetto Trail hats, all sorts of cool stuff with volunteering. And then here's the part I wanted to throw in specifically for you all, citizen science opportunities. So the Palmetto Trail is currently looking at expanding into offering citizen science opportunities such as pollinator garden monitoring and planting, census counts of imperiled species, and invasive species removal. So at this time, we really don't have any citizen science opportunities, but we're looking at getting into this field. We want to help contribute to the ecological preservation of South Carolina, and starting with our very own trail. We are currently looking for volunteers who are passionate about citizen science and have ideas for opportunities that interest them. So if there's something out there that really interests you, if you want to adopt a stream along the trail and do water quality monitoring, we have connections that we can assist with that. We really just want to use our connections with a bunch of these organizations such as SCDNR, Adopt a Stream, South Carolina Audubon, all sorts of these groups that we have close connections with already, but we want to be able to supply them with information, supply them with data that comes from our very own trail and what our trail passes through. All right. Any questions or interest with citizen science opportunities? And of course, you don't have to ask now. I'll have my email at the end, and you're welcome to contact me that way as well. All right, that brings us to upcoming stuff. First up, we have upcoming volunteer opportunities with the Palmetto Trail. On Friday, September 11th, we're doing a board cleanup day along the Peak to Prosperity Passage. That's a little ways from you all, but if you want to see that incredible trestle bridge, we have 19 others along that passage too, just like that first one you saw. The first one is the biggest, but we do have others along the trail. And we'll be going to each of those and cleaning up boards to enhance the beautification of our trail as well as ensure safety. A little closer to you all is that 301 bridge with that big sign with the striped bass on it. We're doing a cleanup day there. Unfortunately, it gets a lot of litter just being so close to the highway. And we're going to be doing a cleanup to ensure that it stays beautiful. We'll also be taking care of the pollinator garden that we have at that location. So if anyone's an expert or just loves to weed, I know people who like to go out and pull weeds and it's their form of therapy. If that's for you, then this might be a good opportunity. This next one, we need a lot of volunteers for. It's Saturday, September 26th. It's for National Public Lands Day. The Palmetto Trail is celebrating that as a public land itself. It's a boardwalk rebuild on the Swamp Fox Passage, which of course is on the public land of Francis Marion National Forest. And so we're looking at rebuilding an 80-foot boardwalk along that passage. So we need all the hands we can get. If you have any past carpentry experience or anything related to that, we'd love to have you. If you don't, we'd love to teach you. So Wednesday, November 18th, we're back down in the low country again for a day of caring with United Way. That's another boardwalk build. That one's a little smaller. I believe it's about 30 feet, but we will be building the entire thing. So instead of just repairing. And then we've, of course, love to have an event just for you all. If you'd like to have a volunteer event close to home, we could do one in Allwindall Passage, Swamp Fox Passage, the closest ones to the Charleston area. We could also host a fun event like a bird walk, as I mentioned before, or something like that. So if anyone has ideas, there's something they really want to do on the Palmetto Trail, let us know. All right. And then we have upcoming community outreach and education. As I mentioned at the beginning, we have our volunteer appreciation social tomorrow night. Everybody in this Zoom meeting would be welcome to come if they would like. It is located in Columbia, so I understand it's a bit of a drive. But if anyone wants to know more about that, I'll have my email at the end, and you're welcome to shoot me an email. Tuesday, September 8th is the Utah Springs Battlefield Tour. That's about halfway between Columbia and Charleston at the Utah Springs Passage. And it's actually a very famous Revolutionary War battle site. So if you're a big history buff, definitely come out and join us. We're going to talk for about an hour or two about the history of the battle, what led to it, why it occurred, and the results of the battle and what it meant for our independence. We're doing a big celebration this year. We've already had a lot of events for America's 250. And we're going to be continuing those with more battlefield tours from the Revolutionary War. Monday, October 26th, if you didn't get a chance to go for the board cleanup, maybe you want to come for our full moon hike at the Peak to Prosperity Passage up this way. That's a night hike. We'll be exploring different senses and how they change at nighttime, as well as a little trunk or treat for the kids. We'll have a bunch of different organizations out doing that trick or treating. Thursday through Friday, November 12th through 13th. If you're interested in the Trailblazers program, you might be interested in the Midlands Chainsaw Training. Unfortunately, Clemson Extension does not offer them in the Low Country, at least in the near future. But we're looking at having a Low Country Chainsaw Training available when they offer one down your all's way. And then finally, Monday, November 16th, we're having a bird walk at the Boyd Passage. This is close to Congaree National Park. If you all have ever been up there, it might be a good day trip. You can come up and go on the bird walk and then check out Congaree afterwards. So if you're a big birder like me, that might be a fun one. And then finally, we have upcoming events. These are our big events that we host every year. I'm not sure what happened to the formatting down here on the bottom. I apologize. I think when it went from PowerPoint to slides, it messed it up a little bit. But Thursday, September 17th, we have a trail talk at our Midlands office. Saturday, October 3rd, we have our True to the Brew half marathon. If we have any runners out there, we do our True to the Brew race series every year. We host a 5K in Columbia, a 10K on our Peak to Prosperity Passage I mentioned before, and the half marathon at Croft State Park. If you're a runner down in the Charleston area, I know none of these races are near you all, but there's a wonderful group that we work with called the Palmetto Ultras, who are a running group based near you all. And they actually run a lot of their races on our trail in the Swamp Box Passage near you all. Thursday, October 15th, another trail talk at the Midlands office. This is probably one of our biggest events of the year is Women's Outdoor Weekend every year in November, a little before Thanksgiving. That's from November 19th to 22nd this year. Women's Outdoor Weekend is where women have an opportunity to get together in the great outdoors, and we offer all sorts of workshops such as orienteering, yoga, archery. I mean, really any fun outdoor recreation opportunity you can think of, there's a workshop for it at this event. We're looking at about 50 to 80 women coming together and just enjoying a wonderful weekend outside together. Friday, November 27th is REI's Opt Outside initiative that is across the entire state. It's kind of an alternative to your classic Black Friday shopping where instead you go out and hike on a trail. We'll be hosting a couple hikes for that this year across the state. More details to come. And then Thursday, December 17th, we have our holiday party at our Midlands office. All volunteers are welcome to that. Again, I know it's a little drive for a lot of you. All right. Well, that about wraps up my talk. Please feel free to email me at any time. Give me a call during office hours and check out our website for sure. I highly recommend signing up for the newsletter. That'll keep you up to date on all volunteer opportunities coming up, as well as education outreach, all of our events. So definitely check out our website. If you go to the bottom of any of the pages, you can sign up for the newsletter there. And it'll also keep you up to date on trail closures or anything else big happening along the trail. And that comes out once a month. So I'm here for any questions. I'd be happy to talk about anything more. I know I showed you a lot of volunteer stuff, but I'd be happy to talk more about the Palmetto Trail in general if we have any specific inquiries about that. So.
I
Thank you.
wanted to ask if there was any regular bird walks that were on particular trails, or is there like e-birding hotspots along the trails that you know of?
Yeah, so I've looked at eBird before for the trail. There are hot spots all along the trail to give you an idea of what birds can be found in different parts of the trail. Hopefully, this winter I would like to host one down in the low country. Hopefully, get a lot of waterfowl, maybe along the Allwendale Passage, start at Buck Hall Recreation Area. Um, that's something, or on Lake Marion, one of the Lake Marion passages, and see a lot of waterfowl in the wintertime. Um, but we do offer them every couple months. We had a lot this spring when we partnered with the South Carolina State Museum. They have their Wings of Wonder exhibit currently. And so we offered a lot of bird walks in partnership. But hopefully we'll have one coming near you, but definitely check out eBird and look at the hot spots along the trail. You can kind of line it up with where it goes through on our maps.
Thank you. Just to jump in, so Katie just let us know that there are no e-bikes permitted on the Ondaw, which is the National Forest land, or the Swamp Fox Passage. But
Okay, yeah.
no e-bikes, but maybe regular bikes.
So
So
yes, e-bikes unfortunately at this time aren't allowed on any of the passages. Um, that's a rule that we're looking at changing, just with the e-bikes becoming more and more popular. There's been debate between degradation of the trail that it causes and increased upkeep, but also we want people to get out and enjoy the trail. And a lot of people do that through e-bikes. So that's definitely been up for discussion lately if that will continue to be a rule. So stay tuned for that.
great, thank you. And then someone asked if there's a mailing list, which you talked about, the newsletter is the best way to be able to get all the information and find out what opportunities there are going on during the month.
Yeah, so you can find the newsletter if you go to our website. At the bottom of any page, you just put in your name and email, and it signs you up. And once a month, you'll get our newsletter with all that information.
That's great. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
If we had some outreach, or if you had, do you get outreach requests? Is that how, and then like need to table at events or something like that? Is that what you're talking about?
With outreach, yeah. So if there were any events that you would be interested in assisting with or even hosting, like it sounds like you're a birder, for example. If you wanted to lead a bird walk, I'd be happy to partner with you all, and you could help me lead a bird walk on one of the passages, and it'd be open to the public, and anyone could come. Or any other interest that you have along the trail that we can just somehow tie in and get people involved.
Cool. You were talking about what I was talking about is the level 4 trail ambassador, their outreach and education roles. Public.
Yes, yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
So if you'd be interested in possibly like tabling at events, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you had things that you used as tabling stuff.
Oh, like stuff we hand out at tabling. Yeah, so we have our brochures we hand out. We have a bunch of swag we hand out, like keychains, all sorts of. I'm blanking right now on everything we have, but koozies, all sorts of little things that we hand out. Lots of informational pamphlets on the trail, pollinators, all sorts of stuff like that. So, but yeah, if someone's interested in possibly helping with tabling, shoot me an email and we could get you signed up as a trail ambassador, and we'll keep you updated if there's any tabling events near you.
Thanks.
Yep, of course. All right.
Anyone else have any questions for Chris? All right, well, this was great and definitely is getting my mind going of how we might be able to coordinate and see if there's something we could do as a group, which I think would be great. I think we're always looking for opportunities to do that. So we will definitely put our heads together and then come back around to you, Chris, and see what might make sense. So that would be great.
All right, that sounds perfect. Let me stop sharing my screen here. Do I just hit? I accidentally leave, I'll join right back. All right, there we go.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was wonderful. That's great. And
Do you-
again, yeah, go ahead. Oop, jump in.
Sorry. I just was curious, do you have any idea how many people visit the Palmetto Trail and what sections or anything like that? Is there any?
Oh, like trail counters, stuff like that. So we do
Yeah.
have some trail counters at our most popular passages where we'll see several thousand people per year at each of those passages. Um, we don't have them at every passage though, so it's hard to get exact numbers. Um, but I can say, for example, we have ones at East Etoe, Peak to Prosperity, and then a couple in the Low Country, and most of those see several thousand per year at each of those trailheads. So.
Cool.
Do you have, with your more regularly used or busier sections of the trail, do you ever have volunteers who kind of rove and help interpret or share information or answer questions? Or I know that might be kind of hard on a trail versus like in a spot, but is there anything like that there's like on days that you know are going to be busier than others, or?
Yeah, so we don't currently, but that'd definitely be something we'd be open to. If someone would be interested in doing that, we would definitely supply that opportunity to them. Um, so if anyone, again, please feel free to email me if that sounds like something that's interest to you. We would probably do that in our Peak to Prosperity passage, East Etoe, the Low Country, just because of how rural Allwindaw and Swamp Fox is. It doesn't quite see the visitation of some of the others. But there would be, I mean, it might be a little slow some days, but of course, people would be welcome to do it if they'd be interested.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess really what it comes down to is if you have an interest and there's something you want to do with the trail, just let me know and we can try to work something out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm glad to hear, it just went away,
Yeah.
from Karen. Glad to hear that you're excited to do some hiking on the trail this fall. I do recommend that you wait till at least this heat wave goes away. We don't want anyone getting heat stroke out on the trail. So wait till it's at least below 100 heat index. But yeah, definitely this fall, this winter, early spring, great times to check out the trail. It's a
Yeah,
little buggy and hot right now in the low countries.
I just learned about the Palmetto Trail last week. So when this came up, I was like, I've got to listen in. So
Oh,
yeah,
well, thank you for
excited
joining
about
us.
this. Yeah.
How'd you learn about it?
It was featured in a magazine that I received, and you're going to ask me what that is, and I can't tell you which one it was.
I'll check with our communication manager. She probably knows about where we've been sending stuff out to. So
I can
I'll let her, know it's
find it.
working.
Yeah. I laughed because I was like, I never even knew this. Wait, hang on, I might be able to find it. It might be right here.
Yeah, and that's why we do a lot of our outreach events and tabling events, because it's such a big state. There's and a lot of people just don't know about the trail.
Yeah.
And it goes across the entire state. Most people have close by access to it, at least within an hour of them. So we're hoping we can get more people out on the trail. That's really the goal in the end.
It's South Carolina Wildlife. It was the July, August issue.
Okay. I was unfamiliar we were in there, but I'm glad to hear that it reached out to you.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, any of the trailheads, do they have like, do you have like public water access, something like that, for people that might need that?
For like drinking water or like
Yes.
drinking. So unfortunately, at this time, I believe none of our trailheads have those. We're also limited in bathroom facilities. It's just something that is difficult with such a large trail to have available across the entire state.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But I know some of our newer trailheads do have bathroom facilities now, such as the Boyd Passage I mentioned, where the bird walk will be. And I believe it has running water too at the bathroom, but it's just limited by systems that are available there. A lot of the trails are very rural too. There's no
Sure.
existing water systems.
Makes sense. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely bring lots of water, bring a snack, bring bug spray, bring sunscreen if you want to go out on the trail. Definitely the water part's important. So thank you for bringing that up.
Any last minute questions before I let Chris go? All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Chris, thank you so much. I think this is, again, got some of us thinking, and we will certainly follow up. And I think the newsletter is a great way to connect. And again, I'll be in touch and see if there's something we can do that our group can do also to support, and also just I think everyone enjoys it. So
Yeah.
after when it cools down for sure, but that'll be here before we know it. So it's all good.
We're getting there. It's already
for that.
mid-August.
Yes, yes. So, all right. Well, thank you again. Thank you all for joining. On that note, I will let everybody go. Have a good evening. Stay safe and have a good
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all
your
for
time,
joining.
Chris.
Much. Thanks.